All right, we're going to quickly, maybe turn on the light over there. We're going to quickly do the rest of today's daf. We're in the beginning of the second chapter of Avodah Zarah. So in the bottom of yesterday's daf, we have a mamidin behem of nikoy shalakum mipnei shechashudan l'raviyah v'lisachid yishemoyen mipnei shechashudan l'rayas siachid adam mimoyen mipnei shechashudan motzfichas damim. So he said, we don't leave an animal together with pagans, your own animal, because you're afraid they're going to abuse the animal. You don't leave a woman alone with the pagans because you're afraid they're going to abuse the woman. You don't leave a man alone with the pagans because you're afraid that the pagans could murder the Jew. Reminhus, the Gemara says, now we're on our Amud. So there's a brisa that says you can buy an animal from a pagan and offer it as a sacrifice to God, and you're not worried that it's not going to be kosher to offer as a sacrifice. You're not worried that the person allowed the animal to abuse him, or that the animal was abused by the person, or that it was designated as an offering for an idol, or that it had been worshipped. Now, obviously, we can understand the Gemara talks about the brisa. It says, obviously, it wasn't designated as a sacrifice for an idol or worship. Because if he wouldn't have sold it if it was designated as a sacrifice to a pagan idol, or if he actually worshipped the animal. But what about being worried that the animal was abused, or that the person allowed himself to be abused by the animal? That they could be worried about. Amar Rav Tachlifa, Amar Rav Shila bar Avina, Mishmei Rav Akum Chasel Behem Tishlei Teokir. So the answer is that Rav Tachlifa says the name of Rav Shila bar Avina, the name of Rav, that the pagan is worried that the animal could become sterile by abusing it. That's only with regard to the female animals purchased by animals from a pagan. What about a male animal? That's not going to affect this. Amar of Kahana, Machishan Babasar. So they said that Rav Kahana says it still damages the animal to use the animal in such a way. So that's why they wouldn't do it, and we can trust that they wouldn't do such a thing. So same thing, we have a brisa that says you could buy an animal from a pagan shepherd and use it as a sacrifice. Aren't they worried that the shepherd might have done something to him? So the shepherd is afraid that people are going to find out. Meaning, if it's his own animal, he's worried. But what about the shepherd who he's taking care of the animal? So the answer is that he would lose income if people would find out. He'd lose his job. So then how could it be that another brisa says that you don't give a sheep to be shepherded by a pagan? Because why aren't we saying that the shepherd is afraid he's going to lose his job? Miratse, lahu leimiratse. So the answer is that the pagans know each other, and so they're afraid, and they know that they do these things, so they're afraid they're going to get caught. The pagan might not know that Jews know that they do those things, so then they're not going to be afraid to get caught. Amar Rabba. So Rabba said, "Hainu damrei inshe machtava glala baza." It says that a writer makes its that you take a stylus on marble and it can make lines on it. So Ragola b'chavra yada. So too, someone who says slander, he knows other slanderers because he's familiar with this. A liar knows his fellow, so forth. He knows another liar. A liar can tell a liar, but an honest person, it's a different story. If that's the case, maybe we shouldn't buy male animals from a female pagan because they're worried that she did something with the animal. Kaven de megare ba miratza. And the answer is that the animal then would follow her around, and then people would figure out what happened, and so therefore she probably wouldn't do such a thing, and so it would be okay to buy it. El Hadasana Rav Yosef Armalta Leitrabe Kalba Leitash Bar Beirav Bushpiza. So there's a price from Rav Yosef that a Jewish widow, shouldn't raise a dog because she might wind up doing a sin with the dog, and also she shouldn't provide lodgings for a rabbinical student. B'shlama bar beirav tzniila. So as far as the rabbinical student, she knows he's going to want to keep a secret, and so she might think she could get away with it because he'll keep the secret. Elakal became in the migara b'mitratza, but the dog might chase her around. And then so then she should be afraid more afraid of sinning with the dog than with the person, especially if it's someone who has a religious appearance. Kaven de chishad yale umtza misrich basra.
Hi, baby, wink.
Meimer amre inshe hi the misrich basra mishum umtza de kamisrich. So the answer, she could say, well, I could give an answer that that's not, she didn't do anything wrong. She's feeding the dog, and that's why he's following her.
You want the next piece?
So we go weiter. The cave sits on the caves. My time is miyachadin, not miyachadinon. Why can't you leave a female animal with a female pagan? Nothing can happen there. So Amar Maruk for Barcham at Nesha Akram and Sunetzel Neshech Evrehen. Amar Sheni Mitzah Mitzi as Behema Roiva. Viboy Same Film Mitzah Nami Rovad Amar Mark Viva Lane Behampton Shali Yisrael Yosem Nishasein. So Maruk for Barchama said that it's because the pagan might go and commit adultery, and he's going to go look for a woman that he knows, and she's not around. So he'll find the animal and commit the sin with the animal, or maybe even he finds the woman, maybe she's not interested, or he'll do something with the animal. And
Both hands, okay? Take it to your chair.
There's a saying that these pagans prefer a Jewish animal to their own women. Again, this is talking about. This is one of those Gemaras that have been brought up to be, speaking that racist against pagans, against Gentiles, and the answer is, of course, this is talking only about ancient pagans and not about modern day Gentiles. So that's the answer. It's how things were in the old days, not how they are today. So it shouldn't be considered racist in any way. And that's how things were in those days. And Rabbi Yochanan said that at the time when the snake in the Garden of Eden seduced Eve, that cast an impurity to her, which was passed on to all of mankind. And that's the root of sin. And and that's what would cause people to be drawn after sin. So the Gemara asks, "Hachi Yisrael Nami." So then, if that's the case, why aren't Jews drawn to such a disgusting sin? Yisrael she'amdu al har Sinai pasku zamasan, akam she'amdu al har Sinai la pasku zamasan. The answer is the Jews who stood at Sinai lost that impurity that was imparted by the original sin, but the pagans, they didn't accept the Torah, and so they didn't lose their impurity. It would seem, therefore, that other Abrahamic people would also, since they accept the truth of Mount Sinai, perhaps we could say it's not necessarily a mystical teaching like this, but it could also be a cultural, psychological teaching in a simple way, or it could also be mystical as well. See, so the question is, what about birds? Are they worried? Are we worried that pagans are going to commit sins with birds? Tashmad Amar of Yehuda Amar Shmuel Mishamar Bichanina Anirisi Alkam Shalakach Avos Min Ashuk Ravach Anakatz Lav Achala. So Yehuda, it's the name of Shmuel, it's the name of Chanina. He saw a pagan buy a goose in the market. He committed a sin with it. Then afterwards he strangled it, roasted and ate it.
You want a piece of pizza?
V'amar of Yirmiyah Medifti, and Rav Yirmiyah Medifti said, "Anibra isi arvi echad shalakach yerich min hashuk, chakbak ukadei reviyah uvatz lavachla." And Rav Yirmiyah Medifti said that he saw an Arab buy a piece of meat from the thigh of a cow in the market, and he made a hole in it in order to do a sin, and he did the sin, and then he roasted and ate it. So it seems that so Ravina Amar like Hasha Hadal Lechatchila Le'avid. So Ravina says that it's only talking about before the fact, after the fact. Are we worried it's going to happen, or do we know that something happened? So that's the end of our Amud. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment.
You say you're going to go to your
Thank you.
teacher?